Bum 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 ba bum 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 ba da da dum bum bum ba da 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 dum bum 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 ba bum 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 ba da da dum bum bum ba da 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 dum. Oh, hello, all my friends. Great to see you. I see you all coming in so quickly. It's so good to see you all. Tonight we have an interesting topic, and as always, because it's Monday night, and we do this every Monday night. My name is Joette Calabrese, for those of you who don't know me, and that is indeed how we fill up half an hour every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And we talk about one thing and one thing only, and that is homeopathy. And so, my friends, that's why I'm here tonight. And for those of you who do know me, hi, friends. It's great to see all my friends here. It's a different background for me, and that's because I'm traveling right now. And so we are meeting with colleagues and etc., and meeting some really great people. And right now I'm in Georgia, and we're on our way to Pennsylvania, and we'll meet with folks there, and then we'll move on from there, and then we'll go further north and get back to our families. So, to our family, I should say. So, good evening, my friends. Yeah, the topic tonight is allergies and questions regarding allergies. Hi, Joette. I'm in Canada. Yeah. I think that's CA's Canada. That could be, it's not California, CA's Canada. Hi, folks. Wonderful to see you all. Great to see you. Hi from Austin, Texas, says Samantha. And my mighties are with us, so it's great to see you too. So let's get going. Let's talk about, hello from Buffalo. Wonderful to see someone from Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo. So let's talk tonight. Let's see what kind of questions come in. I'll do the best I can. I don't take cases in this situation. What I mean by that is, what's the remedy for this, or how do I treat my child for that? Or I'm not going to give protocol after protocol after protocol, because if I do that, I'll be here all night. Plus, here's the real problem. I urge you to learn as much as you can from me so that you know how to fish. And that way, you can learn how to do this on your own. If I give you, oh, this is the remedy, just take it. Here, do this, do that. That's not a good way for you to utilize your intelligence and your autonomy. The best way is for me to kind of inspire in you some ideas and some ways to think. And then from there, you take it from there and learn more. So it is important that you learn how to fish. Yeah, I've studied the allergic course, says Carrie. Do I give an acute for the allergic response to dust and response to hay fever after mowing and response to dairy after eating it? Such a good question. So let me indeed begin with this. I've written an entire course called Allergic, and you'll find it by going to Joette's Learning Center. Joette's, Joettes, no apostrophe, Joette's Learning Center, and scroll down to Allergic. And so that's going to give you a deep foundation as well as many protocols. So that, I love that question. So let me see if I can answer it this way. When we have someone who is allergic, who has an allergic constitution of sorts, in other words, they're suffering from milk and from mowing the lawn and from dust and from their pet, etc. It's an allergic constitution. And so we need to get to that underlying issue, the underlying situation. And so the way I describe it is that it's like a symphony. The base of the symphony, the most important aspect of an entire symphony is, as far as the instruments are concerned, is the string section. They carry the melody. They carry the harmony. They are up front at the first part of the stage. They're seen most because they are so important. Now, it doesn't mean that the oboe and the brass section and the woodwinds and the brass section and the percussion section, etc., don't have a part. They absolutely have a part. But the number one area, the biggest area, the underpinnings of the orchestra is the string section. So if we have something that's going on a very deep level, which is what allergies are all about, something deep is going on. Oh, did you hear that? Oh my gosh, you know who's here? I know. Yeah, I know. Influenza, that's her full name, but we call her Floozy for short. You can see she's a little calmer. She's not as, remember how nervous she was last time? Well, she's here. I had her on my, and I really did not want to, for her to be part of this conversation quite yet, but since she's here, we'll just have her sit with us for a while. So she likes to look around. She likes to see who's with us tonight. She looks at the screens. So, so what we're looking at is the string section is the bass. So we have to go after allergies as a baseline condition. And then every once in a while, that string section is met with the piccolo, the sackbut, the harp. Those are the incidental issues. That's the mowing the lawn, too much dairy, being around chickens, yes, feathers. And then we get a response, all of those independent responses. But all along, what we're talking about is the baseline, and that has to be removed. Now, it doesn't have to be removed before we go after all of these. It's going to be removed slowly and consistently over a period of time. Often, depending on how long the person has had allergies, but not always. Sometimes we're surprised at how quickly it can work, even with someone who's had allergies their entire life. Sometimes it goes quickly. Sometimes it takes months, even years. Now, hold that thought about even years, and I'll get back to that in a moment. So, we want to uproot that propensity. Meanwhile, should someone be suffering from mowing the lawn, from sleeping on feather bed, from playing with the puppy, or whatever else might show up, we can still treat those specific acutes as a representation of what's going on down here. So we could look at it as the symphony and the string section is carrying the entire aspect of the case so that eventually these events don't come up as often. So that sackbut will not show up as often. That piccolo will not be as important. That harp, those cymbals, those kinds of incidental aspects that make for a little bit of a picture of the allergy are less concerning. Because again, the baseline is always the string section. It carries the entire orchestra. So, there are specific homeopathic medicines that we use to treat the baseline of allergies. This is what I teach in my allergic course. I'm giving you kind of a shortened version, something quick so that you can get kind of the basic idea. So we're using these baseline medicines depending on what is presenting. And there are a number of them. There's Bovista, there's calc-carb, there's calc-phos, there's Serinum, there's tuberculinum. We could keep going. There are a couple more that I'm thinking of. There are these base medicines. There's carcinosin. There are a few others. And we use these base medicines regularly. Some of them are every other day. Some of them are every week, once a week, every 7 days. Some of them are twice a month, every 14 days. And as the person improves, then and it can take many months, as I said. Those that we're using perhaps once a week, we go to every 2 weeks. Those that we're using every 2 weeks, we then stretch out to every 14 days. Now, I have to tell you, after having been in practice for 3.5 decades, I have to say that it took me a long time to get to this point, to understand the depth and breadth. Because, to be honest, That's what I've suffered from all of my life are allergies. And so my allergies are very, very, very minimal. I am not cured. And I don't expect 100% cure. What I do expect, however, is that I can get into an elevator that has a lot of perfume in it and not have asthma. I can now eat anything I want to eat. I don't choose to eat and just anything. I'm very careful about what I eat. I very much believe that it's important what we eat and what I'm exposed to. But generally, I have almost no allergies at all. No food intolerances that I can that's measurable. And this is the method that I used. And so if, however, and you probably heard me talk about this, every once in a while, a couple years back, my eyes got swollen and itchy from something that was being pollen that was rather new to me in Florida, having moved there. And I found that I needed other medicines besides my baseline string section. Now, I'm not telling you, I hope you don't get this, you don't misread me. I am not saying that you have to take tuberculinum, calc, phos, serinum, etc. You're not taking all of them. We're choosing one. Occasionally we'll use two, but for the most part we're using one medicine, and it's based on the story that the person describes. It's based on how the symptoms are presenting in this person. That's what makes the difference. So I wanted to get back to how often, because people are asking me, how long? How long does it take? When I say it takes a year or 2 years, etc., I'm not telling you, my friends, that it takes that long to get any relief at all. Because if you're using this baseline all along, you should see that after a few months, those symptoms that show up every once in a while, the hives or the swollen eyes or the eczema outbreak or the asthma or the etc., the sneezing or the coughing or the throat irritation or whatever else, or the jitteriness or the anxiety, etc., is not as frequent. And when it does show up, we use the specific acute medicines for them as they present. Does that make sense? So we have a two-prong system. One that's the base and one that we're using as needed. Now, as these are needed, if somebody's got hives and you use urtica urens or apis, apis is if the hives are around the mouth. I've seen already a couple questions about that. Not hives, if we see swelling, edema around the mouth, and we see it around the mouth, in the lips, the tongue, the throat, the uvula, the under the eyes, swelling up, then we know that that's going to be apis. We're still counting on one of those baseline medicines to be slowly uprooting the condition, the fact that the person's even allergic in the first place, and then we use the urtica urens or the apis mellifica, and we use those as needed in short order, every few minutes sometimes if it's serious enough. If it's just a little annoying, maybe every few hours. Still with that baseline. So as we see the change, we're seeing less intensity. I see questions coming in. What can I expect? You're going to see 3 magic markers. Less intensity to the symptoms. The symptoms are still there. But instead of being a screaming 9 in suffering, we're seeing instead 7, 6.5. And when the symptoms appear, they don't last as long. Instead of the symptoms lasting for 2 weeks, we're seeing them last maybe 2 days, and then eventually 2 hours. And then we also see a larger space, 3rd magic marker, a larger space between each episode. So instead of it happening every week, we see it maybe every 6 months, and then every 8 months, and then once a year, only when the tree buds blossom, for example, instead of all spring and into the summer. So that's what we're looking for. So these remedies that I teach, and I've taught many of them on the blog for free, my friends. Look on the blog, look under allergies, look under urticaria, hives, look under, just find many words to describe. There are many synonyms for the word allergy. And that gives you exact, specific instructions for free. So look those up and know which one fits you. Is it for children? It's for children. Camels, dogs, pregnant women, older adults, teenagers, chickens, for anyone who has allergies. We do not differentiate. The only thing that I say is don't use apis in high potency, like a 1M or a 10M or something like that. Don't use that in a high potency frequently if a woman is pregnant. It's the only caveat I'm going to give you here. But anything else, would Athusa be considered as a baseline? Athusa is not, Athusa is specific for dairy intolerance. It's not baseline enough. Baseline is all encompassing the fact that there is a dairy intolerance, and there's also a feather intolerance, and there's also et cetera, et cetera. No, Athusa is a very good medicine for dairy intolerance. But we also want to consider, we must use that baseline. I'm a lot better than I used to be, thanks to taking antimonium crude 6, but that cannot seem to uproot a stubborn, very itchy back rash that keeps coming back in one area, sort of looks like chickenpox, and takes weeks to recede. Precisely. Antimonium crude is an excellent medicine for itching. There's no doubt about it. But we have to get to that baseline. We got to know these other medicines that help uproot it so that when you do use antimonium crude, it acts more fully. So we need these two prongs, okay? Let's see. What's a good canker sore? Good canker sores for toddlers. Let me tell you that canker sores are really the gut. It's a representation of the gut. Look at what that child is eating. And look at how often the child gets a canker sore related to, more often than not, my friends, sugar. And I don't think sugar is poison. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think it's poison. Just it could be too much sugar for that particular person. And it could simply mean that the person needs to take a homeopathic medicine to allow them to be able to eat sugar. I know what many people are going to say. What are you crazy? Sugar is poison. I used to believe that myself. I don't believe that. I think if any of the foods are poison, it's the manufactured stuff. It's the oils. It's the canola, the mazola, the Motorola, safflower oil. Yes, all of those oils are dangerous. But I also believe that those oils are dangerous, but not necessarily a problem immediately. Can you please give your opinion of this warning given by a member in the Banerjee Facebook group about aconitum worsening existing heart arrhythmia in dogs? She said her homeopathic vet said they've seen this and it should never be given. Well, it shouldn't be given if it's not right, that's for sure. Seems odd since aconitum can help heart issues, correct? Could it be a temporary aggravation? No, it's the wrong remedy. The person chose the wrong medicine. We don't use aconitum for arrhythmias. I'm sorry, we just don't. We use it for an immediate condition, for an acute condition, not for general arrhythmias. It's the wrong medicine. When you give the wrong medicine more than once, or maybe even once, but more often you repeat a medicine and repeat it. If you keep taking salt all day long and you keep repeating it, and it's not right for you, it's not good for you to have that much salt, what do you suppose is going to happen? So we really need people to understand these medicines more thoroughly before they go ahead and use them. Indeed, any homeopathic medicine, any conventional medicine, any food, any substance that is used incorrectly will likely offer a problem. What is good for stress hives from grief that are especially bad at night? They appear on, okay, so this is not about allergy. I want to try to stay with allergies. And I do believe that I want to go back. Canker sores are related on some levels to allergies. Because I think of allergies as food intolerances as well. And I know, strictly speaking, that is not so. But allergies are, it's a reaction to something that's coming into the body. Now, let me also say, this is where I draw the line. When someone reacts to a conventional drug, that's not an allergy. That's a body that's smarter than the administrator, than someone who administered the medicine. I'm sorry, drugs have side effects. So Even if there's some good that comes from them, such as in general anesthesia, if one must go under surgery, we always have something that will cause a reaction. So my daughter had febrile seizure every time I gave her eupatorium for her fever. The allergist said she was allergic to the remedy. No, she's not allergic to the remedy. If you are using a medicine that's incorrect, it's either not acting and allowing the condition to continue, or it is the wrong medicine. It's not, no. Oh. You hear my frustration when practitioners who know nothing about homeopathy and the action of homeopathy make a statement like that. No. So my daughter I just want to read it again. My daughter had febrile seizure every time I gave her eupatorium for her fever. I don't give medicines for fever, for a child's fever. Why? We don't need to do that. A fever is a curative measure. Now, I've talked about how I used homeopathy years ago. My first remedy that I ever used was for my son who had a very high fever when he was 6 weeks old. But it was more than that. He had a fever, but he was also not nursing, and it was 2.5 days. And so I did indeed use a homeopathic medicine. But I don't urge parents to use homeopathic medicines for fever. Let the fever cook it off. It's a great way to work. Fever is good, says Linda. You've got it. Okay. What else do we have? Let's see if we've got some other questions here. So, Joette, I have an allergic reaction from dust, mold, when visiting a place they're not used to being. Do you suggest treating as needed while there, or should be you suggest starting a dust allergy remedy before going? Well, the question always is, how often do you go? How severe is the reaction? If it's important enough, if it's such a horrible reaction, then indeed it might be worth using the medicine in advance. But just before, like in the car on the way, don't overdo that thinking though, my friends. It's surprising how often times people become immune or they can regulate their allergies on their own without having a homeopathic medicine all the time. But you know that you've got that should you need it. Yeah, replying to Tara. Look up Joette's blog on hotspots for dogs. About the vet and the aconite warning, she said never to give it for any condition such as sudden fright if the dog has an existing heart arrhythmia. Is this true? Oh, I see what you're saying. So it wasn't for an arrhythmia. That's a pretty strong blanket statement. If you use aconitum in the gross form, mother tincture, which one should never, shall I say it again? We never, ever use aconitum nipalis in gross form, in mother tincture. We should only use it homeopathically, which means it's got the number and the letter after it. So it might be written aconitum nipalis 200C, for example. If it's given to a dog that has arrhythmias and they're in a panic, then I would say that might be an appropriate time. But if the dog instead gets worse from it, it's the wrong medicine. It doesn't mean it's going to make the dog worse forever. If you want to know how to stop the reaction of a medicine that's poorly chosen, then you can go right to my blog and look at Stop It. Just Joette Calabrese, Stop It. Okay. Yes, Deb says, yeah, study the homeopathic basics. I know there are a lot of new folks here, and it's really, it's great. I love that you're here, and I urge you to learn more. Absolutely. Join a study group, my gateway to homeopathy. Again, Joette's Learning Center, and join a study group. You're online with people and meeting them, and you study together. Very inexpensive, super easy way to learn. Super easy way to get to know people all over the world who will help you in the long run. My 12-year-old daughter has been having red eyes, no discharges. She mentions that below her eyes hurts, pending which eye is red or hurts, that nostril has drainage. I live in Florida. So thinking allergies could indeed be allergies. That makes sense. And you might want to look up what's going on at that time in Florida in your region, by all means. Yeah. Starting allergic next month, says Susan. Yeah, it's a great course. You will not be dissatisfied with it. You will learn so much that you will, and I always urge you, when you get any of my courses, they're not expensive. For the amount of information you get and all the resources and the results and the day-to-day practical aspects of these courses are so powerful. I urge you, don't take the course once. You own it. Might as well just watch it a second time and a third time and a fourth time. Because there's so much information that I always worry that folks are going to miss out on something important. You have a remedy for post-nasal drip or congestion. Well, yes and no. We might want to know a little bit more about that. Does that mean it happens after eating dairy? Does it mean it happens when there's dust around? Does it mean etc.? We want a little more information. I just jumped on here and apologize if you already covered this in the first 20 minutes. My 8-year-old daughter is having a terrible time with seasonal allergies right now in Oregon. Eyes itchy, nose stuffed, cheeks red. Today was particularly bad after running in a field. What is the best remedy? I'm not going to give the remedy. She takes quercetin and Zysol, I think she's saying, and we have the Allergena homeopathic tincture for our region. That homeopathic tincture for your region is excellent, is often, but that is the piccolo, my friends. That's the sackbut. That's the harp. So what I urge you to do, Sandy, is to watch this again. I gave lots of information that might help you out here. My daughter responds well to Apis and has anaphylactic level allergies just from touching things. Yeah, it happens. If she ever accidentally ingests an allergic, what would be the best remedy to avoid having to use her EpiPen? I do want you to read up on Apis. In fact, I was just talking about it a minute ago. Allergy Calm from boron is also good as an SOS remedy. You're absolutely right, Christy. Thank you very much. It makes it super easy by purchasing those combination medicines from boron. What is red ear and red face when a child wakes up from a nap? It happens all the time. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say what it is. Could it be something on the bed? Something in the bed? Laundry detergent, feather pillows, something that the child ate before going to bed, etc. All right, Sabadilla is awesome. Where are you all finding it these days? Sabadilla, the best way to know how to use Sabadilla or any of these medicines, Apis, any of them, Serinum, Calcarb, Tuberculinum, is to go to your Materia Medica. If you don't own a Materia, I sell a Materia Medica, joe@calabrese.com, scroll down, and there's my Materia Medica. Or that's for a quick read and for something that gives you quick information. But you can also go online for free and look at the Materia Medicas that are from the great doctors of old, Dr. Fatak, Phatak, Dr. Boricke, Boericke. If you're not catching these, I know I'm going through them quickly because I want to get a lot of information in as quickly as I possibly can. Dr. James Tyler Kent. Those are all very great resources. But if you miss it, then go back, and this is posted tomorrow. Okay. Sorry to clarify where to purchase. They stopped eating or selling it where I used to buy. Oh, I don't know what it is you're buying, but boron. Just go to Boron USA if you live in the United States. BOIRON. And I know a lot of people hate Amazon, but that can still be a decent place to buy some medicines. Are expired EpiPens not any good to use? Pretty expensive thing to have to replace, isn't it? I'm not a manufacturer of drugs. I'm not an expert at them. I just know how we don't want to use them if we possibly can avoid them. Alrighty, yes, that's right, Susan. Thank you. If you go to Boron, BOIRON USA, and you order the medicines that you want, at the end, when they ask for the little code at the end, put in my first name, Joette, JOETTE, and you'll get 20% off. Because I don't have an affiliate program with them. It doesn't come back to me as it does with many other practitioners. My focus is on getting the discounts and the information to You. I want you to grow. I want this movement to stay alive. I am not a spring chicken. And so I want this to be my legacy, which is I want to make sure that mothers and grandmothers know how to use this medicine so that whatever comes up in the future, and if you can be guaranteed of anything in life, you're going to be hit with something. Someone in your family is going to suffer. You are likely going to suffer at some point. We take advantage of the joyous times as much as we possibly can, and then at some point, someone's going to suffer and they're going to need you. It's your job. It's not the doctor's job. It's not the government's job. It's not the school's job. It's your job. And I want to encourage you to take responsibility for all that happens in your family. And so with that, I say, God bless all of you. And have a great week. Floozy says bye too.
With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athusa, no dairy, it's elementary. With arnica head, arsenicum fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bella so red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calica bonicum, let it melt on your gumbo, beast to weed are some great ways to treat ya. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedy.